Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. Let's break down the Friday best bets as we get further into March Madness. We'll digest a little bit what's happened today. We'll talk some brackets. We'll talk my best bets as well as some leans as we break down each and every game here on the Friday card. Appreciate you guys all coming back. And if you are new here, awesome. This is a perfect time for you guys all to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you are watching this video and you want a bet using my picks, it's completely free to do so. Absolutely destroy that like button. That's all I ask for you in return for these free picks. And let's get right down into the action. Okay, so full disclosure, let's recap what we did today. I am recording this video as games are still underway, so we'll kind of get into some of that action as well as some bracket stuff. Okay, so bracket's doing extremely well. I'm in first place in my, it's more of a cash bracket. There's only 50 or so people, but it is for a higher entry, so I think that's something where it's a little bit different way to handicap games versus pick your bracket accordingly, but it's something I do like to do, and it does give you some hedging opportunities with a smaller field deeper into the bracket. So hopefully you guys are all doing well in that regard. I know a lot of people like to pick the underdogs, and it's been kind of a mixed bag today. We only had McNeese kind of getting the job done, and Drake. Those are pretty much the two big ones on the day. But let's get down into the action as I want to break down these best bets, as we will have 5 best bets for you guys right now as we talk some hoops and a couple leans. All right, so the first game on the card worth noting about, and we are using OUTLIER, guys. If you're not using OUTLIER, there's a link down below in the description. 7-day free trial, at least for the brackets. Sign up, try it. If you don't like it, you can cancel anytime, no questions asked, but it does let you make the best bet possible among some other premium features, so make sure you give OUTLIER a look. But as we look into that first game, 12:15 tip-off, Baylor and Mississippi State. This would be a lean for me in terms of the Baylor Bears. All right, you're not going to see me fade too many SEC teams, but in a neutral venue, I think Baylor is the better squad. I think the wrong team's potentially favored, and I do see some value taking some plus money with some Baylor Bear action, but that's not enough to make my card. It is just a lean for the first game of the day. Next one is one of the underdogs that everybody's talking about. This is Robert Morris, the Horizon League champion, taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, the interesting thing about this game, and this is kind of where you're going to see two completely different styles clash. I think the number, I agree with the premise that the number may be a little bit too inflated. Alabama's a 2-seed in the tournament, but this is something where we talk about kind of what's going on. Me personally, I think this is something where you kind of look at the style of play that Alabama deploys. What are we going to get? Okay, are we going to get a game where Alabama gets into the 80s and Robert Morris fails to get into the 60s? I just don't really, quite frankly, see it, but I do see the fact that the potential for Alabama to be caught kind of sleepwalking does exist. Not enough to make my card. If I had to bet anything in this game, I would lean towards the over. I would lean towards Alabama team total over, but not enough for me to get involved with this, albeit a lot of people are going to be backing the dog in this spot as the Colonials take on the Crimson Tide. So this will be a pass for me. Lean towards Alabama team total going over, okay? Next, Lipscomb in Iowa State. This is one that almost made my card as well. 14.5, 14, whatever you want to pay in terms of juice. The half points right now are kind of crushing it in that regard, but I think that's something where Iowa State is undoubtedly the better team. Will they cover the big number, 15 points almost? I think that they can. I would lean taking the Cyclones minus 14.5. They do have some injury concerns, and I did back Iowa State late in the Big 12 tournament as they faltered to BYU, and that's kind of where I stand on this game, guys. I really don't trust the Cyclones, but I do have them advancing in my bracket, and 14.5 is just a little bit too much, but I would lean laying it with Iowa State minus 14.5, okay? Next game is going to be one of the official plays that we do have, a very, very intriguing matchup between Colorado State and the Memphis Tigers. Now, the reason why I want to talk about it some more is because there is a lot of FUD going on within kind of the Mountain West, and this is something where we look into kind of what we have going on. Colorado State, 16-4 in conference, 25-9 overall. If you talk about kind of how that tournament shaped out, I think a lot of people for their money would say New Mexico is the best team that there is in the Mountain West, and they have a very big game on Friday's card as well. Utah State, we saw them kind of plummet, so to speak, against UCLA, currently ongoing. Also, San Diego State getting destroyed by North Carolina. Boise got snubbed. I probably would have them in personally. They were one of the first four out. But as we look into New Mexico and Colorado State in action on Friday, I'm going to be fading the Mountain West again. The trends are there. First round games with the Mountain West, they do not do well. I know Memphis on the other side. They do have one of their star players that is absent. We've seen Memphis kind of struggle in March Madness under Penny Hardaway. But I think for my money, guys, Memphis is going to be the best way to approach this. If you can find a 2 out there, I do recommend taking the 2. I took Memphis plus 2.5. That's where I'm going to be at. I think the wrong team's favored. I think that the wins Memphis has had in the regular season kind of trump anything that Colorado State has done recently. And if you want to kind of get into those numbers, simply put, guys, they've won 10 straight games, okay? And that's kind of where they do have an NBA player within their starting 5, but I just personally think that Memphis is the better team overall. I look for them to really take care of business, and I'm going to take the points here with Memphis. I think the wrong team's favored in this spot, so if you like the Memphis money line, fine. But I did take Memphis plus 2.5 a little earlier in the day, okay? So that will be my first official play. Next one, we're going to stay away from as well, Mount St. Mary's and Duke. This is one where we wonder how many minutes Cooper Flagg will get for the Blue Devils. It's going to be a pass for me. 32.5 is a lot of points. For Duke, though, they have been kind of that team where they defy all odds when it comes to the point spread. And taking on the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's, I could see this game getting out of hand. Duke gets up into the high 90s. And then you're going to need basically Mount St. Mary's to essentially score under 55 if you do want to cover this, if that does come into fruition. I just don't think there's too much wiggle room with minus 32.5, so this is a no play for me. A lot of people out there probably will take that ton of points with Mount St. Mary's, but and that's not a bad move. I really think that without Cooper Flagg, they may be a little bit more, I guess you'd say, reserved in terms of scoring and defense, but I do think that the 32.5 is warranted. It's just too big of a number for me to get involved, so this is a pass for me, okay? Next one we are going to talk about is going to be St. Mary's. This one came very close to being on my card. St. Mary's is now up to a 4.5-point favorite going against Vanderbilt. I think that Vanderbilt is a little fugazi when they're not at home. I think they're a fake squad. St. Mary's is going to try to slow it down. Vanderbilt wants to run with tempo. It's a clash of two styles where I think that St. Mary's experience in the postseason really will dictate how they do in this game. So I do look for St. Mary's to advance. Almost laid it there, -4 with St. Mary's. That is probably the first or second game that would have made my card, but ended up just getting edged out. But I do have a lean towards St. Mary's -4. Okay. Next one, this will be probably the sniff test alert where we do raise the red flags, fly them high, and really start wondering what the heck is wrong with this point spread. Okay, we saw North Carolina take care of business against San Diego State. And if they play anything like the style they played against San Diego State, commanding the rebounds, making three-pointers, aggressive in transition, I don't think that anyone will get in the way of the Tar Heels. I have them, I think, going to the Sweet 16 personally. And this is going to be potentially one of my bigger bets that I do lay for the tournament thus far. I think that North Carolina, this is the fishiest game I've ever seen personally. Not discrediting Ole Miss, 21-10, 10-8 on the season. We could talk kind of where they're at, but you're looking at this game. Ole Miss 16-16 ATS. North Carolina, you can't really take their numbers into account because they have been a little bit different of a team the last 15 games of the season or so. But North Carolina here, -1.5. If you just want to pay the juice and lay the money line, -120. That's probably where I would go with this. But I'm going to take North Carolina here on the money line to get the job done with Ole Miss. Potentially, even if you want to get a little risky, if you like the Tar Heels, I know there's some sharp money on Ole Miss. If you like the Tar Heels, do not be shy of taking alternate lines. You might be able to get some extreme value taking the Tar Heels, -9.5, win by double digits. That's something that I would explore, but I think the Tar Heels roll in this spot, and I kind of hope they do because I have a parlay that's open that has a little bit of little bit of steam on it, needing the only leg left from today. I need the Tar Heels to come through, and that would pay a pretty penny. So go Tar Heels. We're going to take them again on the money line. I'm going to take them as a single, and they will be an official best bet as well. Okay. Maryland and Grand Canyon, that's an interesting game. We look at the action. We could see kind of Grand Canyon taking a lot of the money in terms of the spread. We also like the over, okay? And that's probably the recommendation I would give you, over 149.5. I'm not going to get involved, but if I had to bet this game, I would lean towards the over 149.5. I know a lot of these first-round matchups end up being a little bit more so favoring unders. But for me, guys, I just really like Maryland's offense. I think they're going to get it done. Potentially even Maryland's team total. Grand Canyon can score a little bit. And I just wonder kind of Maryland, how they're going to be recovered from that Big Ten run in their conference tournament. Maybe a little bit softer defense, but they still will be able to score with ease. So give me the Terrapins and Grand Canyon going over 149.5 as one of my leans as well. Florida and Norfolk State. This will be an official bet. This is one where we are going to back the favorite. I'm going to lay it. It's a big number, 28.5. If you want to find 28s, that's going to be what I recommend. I'm going to take minus 28 with Florida. Okay, so it gives us the opportunity for a push. You look at kind of what we've seen with Florida, undoubtedly the number one seed. They are my national champion in my bracket. 30-4. They covered 26 games. Outstanding. They can adapt to whatever team they're playing with. Play with athleticism. Can shoot the three ball. Great defense. I just think that they're going to be such an overmatch for Norfolk State. And coincidentally enough, we saw this way back when. This is over a decade ago. They did play each other in the first round, and this is something where Florida won with margin and ease. And if we do repeat history, Florida covers the 28 very easily. So let's get Florida involved, minus 28. I think this will be very similar to the game we saw Houston play today, where Florida will undoubtedly cover this number. I think they win by 30 plus, actually. So give me the Gators here, minus 28 as an official play. Troy, Kentucky. This is a tough one, all right? I actually probably would lay it with Kentucky. Just being honest, I do like Troy, though, a little bit, but I think that they're going to be a little bit overmatched. So I'm going to stay away from this one, but if you force me to bet it, I would take the Wildcats here and lay it with minus 11.5, okay? New Mexico and Marquette. This is going to be another one that does interest me because of the Mountain West trends. Also, Marquette, as we've known, they've been a horrible team to close out the regular season and conference play. And that's kind of where you look at the Golden Eagles, 3.5-point favorites hosting the Lobos. And for my money, guys, it would be on the side of New Mexico. But like I said, guys, I'm really not touching the Mountain West unless I'm going to fade them. And that's kind of where I am as we see a nice little 7 versus 10 matchup here in this region, okay? Big underdog as well, Akron. This is a trendy dog, 14.5. This is one where I do have a play towards the over if you want to get involved. 166 is a high number, but it's something where I do think this is where the number goes, and I do like versus taking Akron plus 14.5, which I think a lot of people are. You could check out some of the public betting. The Zips are definitely the side, handle and some of the public. Undoubtedly more bets, and the handle is on the spread in favor of the Zips. 14.5, 15, whatever you want to reach for, grab it. That's what I would play. Also, I do have a lean towards the over as well, but not an official play for me in this contest. All right. Oklahoma and Yukon. This will be an official play. We are going to grab the 147.5, and we are going over. All right, so give me the 147.5, Oklahoma and Yukon. Let's get 148. I think that Yukon wins this game. I don't trust Oklahoma. I don't like Oklahoma. I don't care what they've done recently. I think they're going to be able to score with the Huskies. I don't trust their defense, but I don't think that Hurley and company are going to lose after, defending their crown. I think this is something where they do run it up a little bit on Oklahoma. No defense, but I think they can score enough against Yukon that we do see a total over 147.5. Let's get above 70s, and maybe we get Yukon into the 80s, and we cash that over. So give me Oklahoma, Yukon over 147.5 as an official play. All right, next one, Xavier in Illinois. This will be another official play. Whoever Illinois drew, whether it been Xavier or Texas, this is where we're going to back this team. Xavier is a very trendy dog. You can see a lot of sharper money on the Illini, but I'm still going to grab the points. Plus 3.5, I think, is too much. This game might come down to the wire. We've seen Illinois get blown out at times throughout the end of the regular season and in conference action. And that's kind of where I stand. All right, I think Xavier has some momentum. That's a big win against Texas. I think they keep the ball rolling. So give me the Musketeers to take down the Illini. I kind of like them on the money line, plus 140 as well, but we'll grab those 3.5 points as an official play. All right, as we get deeper down the board, we have 2 games left to talk about, Michigan State and Bryant. No play for me. This is something where, if you want to back Izzo, great. It's just 17.5 is a lot for me. They had a little early exit. I think that Michigan State will be ready to roll, but 17.5 is a little bit too much for me, although I do think they take care of Bryant with ease. I'm just not going to get involved with this game. Liberty and Oregon, very interesting spot for the Flames. I do like Liberty quite a bit, but they get the late game. All right, they get a 10-10 tip-off, and this is something where you look at kind of the West Coast, East Coast deal. I think the time zone favors Oregon. Oregon's been playing very well as of late. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw out of UCLA tonight. I think they're going to be able to deliver. So I would lay it minus 6.5 with Oregon, but no official play. That's just a lean. Okay, so appreciate you guys. This was a little bit of a huge video as I broke down each and every game. Let's get into it, guys. We'll tell you the final plays. But before we do, if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Smash that like button and be sure to let me know what you'll be betting down below in the comments. But my official plays for the day, we're going to go Memphis plus 2.5. I took Yukon over 146.5. Also, we're going to lay it with UNC on the money line minus 120. Laying Florida minus 28 and taking those 3.5 points with Xavier. So that's my 5-pack. We'll see what happens. Good luck to you guys with your bets. Let's cash some tickets, and I'll see you guys all Saturday in the next video. Cheers.